We're not sure, but hopefully we are live. It said that it just stopped broadcasting. And then right at the beginning of the show, it was like last minute. I already started the show. And then the prompt came up, said, hey, you know what? There's a problem. Do you want to continue to record and broadcast? I said, sure. So now I'm just redoing things and seeing if this is working. And it looks like it is. So far, so good. Sorry about the little hiccup in the beginning of the show. It happens when it's on a do-it-yourselfer live stream, live on the radio show, doing it from your office from work. But we have a show nonetheless. This is the miracle that we call Sudbury News Talk in the morning on CKLU 96.7 FM, live streaming on Facebook Live at facebook.com/Sudbury News, youtube.com/Sudbury News, and also streaming at cklu.ca. Click on the Radio Player Canada logo and you can stream us. You can also download the same Radio Player Canada app and take us with you and listen to us anytime, anywhere on your favorite device. This is CKLU. We've been around since 1984. Started off in a little trailer on the Laurentian University campus, Ramsey Lake Road. And now we're in the old Telegraph building on the corner of Elm and Elgin in part of the new MacEwan School of Architecture. So they've been kind enough to give us a studio there. And thanks to people like you who are kind enough to support CKLU. This is a student-funded, partially, but mainly a community-funded radio station that allows people like myself and yourself the opportunity to get on and have a show and share some of the maybe talents that you have or passions that you might have on a radio show. And if you do want your own show, you don't have to do what we're doing here and live stream it on video. You can just simply be on the radio and you can just email GM, that's short for general manager, gm@cklu.ca. And you'll be speaking with Rob. So say, Rob, I have an idea for a show. This is it. Can we set up a time and chat about it? And he'll be more than gracious enough to sit down and talk about your idea, and see if it can be put into the format of a radio show. Now we've gone above and beyond, and we have a radio show / podcast live stream. But you don't have to do that. You can just be bare bones, and they have all the equipment there. They'll even train you how to use it. And so that's one way that you can support campus and community radio, by volunteering your time as a host, or if you have a talent with IT or anything to do with any of the hardware that we might use, you can lend your talents to that as well. You can apply to be on the board and serve and support us in that way as well. Many ways you can support. If you don't want to do any of that, but you have the monetary means, you go to cklu.ca. You just click on the donate now button, and whatever it is that you feel that you can contribute to keep our lights on and the airwaves open, we very much appreciate that. We also have different fundraisers that you can take part in and contribute with and to, and we very much appreciate that. And so thank you so much for your support, those that are and have supported, even by listening, and go on the website and check out the programming, the lineup, the schedule, see if there's something there that you might be interested in. And I know there's many of our listeners and viewers that do listen to other programming on CKLU. It's very eclectic. There's all kinds of things. There's something for everyone. So make sure to head to cklu.ca. And for all of our socials, our facebook.com/Sudbury News, youtube.com/Sudbury News. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, follow, and all of that stuff. That way, we can increase our presence on social media, and then in turn get the word out to more and more people. And especially by sharing, people can then, if you think that certain people would be interested in this format of local news and talking about news abroad. Now, we don't have the comments section working today because something went wrong with my studio. Who knows? Every day something new happens. Like this morning, my laptop wouldn't even boot up. So my main laptop, that's really expensive, and there's many IT people from work on it, wasn't able to boot up. So I had to troubleshoot that. And then just as we were going to air, my studio software said, hey, there's a problem. Would you like to continue? And then that creates a whole other situation. So we don't have the comments able to come up on the screen. I do have them on my monitor. I will do my best to read them today. And so keep the comments coming. And with that, good morning, Monique. Good morning, everyone. Also, Judy, good morning. David, as usual, stay safe. We're grateful for that. And Vin, morning to you as well. Thanks for being with us, y'all. We got a great show for you today. Possibly a pretty cool deep dive into many weird things that Canada is these days. The different laws and things that we're standing up for, and just seems odd. Our country these days, the transition that we're going in, the leadership possibly that we have. Speaking with our Ward 5 councilman from Greater City of Sudbury yesterday, it's all about leadership. We talked about the city and the leadership of this country, possibly some of the vision that they have, and what is that vision anyways? What is the vision for Canada that our leadership, the current leadership, has that are running the country? And is there something that we can do about that? Now, Vin says CKLU Monday morning had a great biography on air and space. Canadian group of the 60s, can't find them anywhere on the internet. Oh, interesting. Thanks, Vin, for sharing that. Yeah, that's the thing with CKLU. There's all kinds of stuff you won't find anywhere else, but it's interesting you can't find them on the internet. So it was a biography on air and space, Canadian group in the 60s. I wonder, is that the Avro Air people? I'm just wondering. We'll have your response and much, much more. When we come back with After the Weather, we'll have headlines and your comments and maybe some deep dives today, right when we come back after the weather. We'll be right back. Sudbury Weather brought to you by SudburyWeather.ca. For all things Sudbury Weather, just visit SudburyWeather.ca. It's on our Sudbury.news website. It's a work in progress. If you have any suggestions for our site to make it better, some things that you might find on there that may be in error or anything like that, just you can email us at SudburyNews@gmail.com or message us at Facebook.com/SudburyNews. You can just message us there. Currently, it's 9 degrees. It is sunny, thankfully. Today, we can expect a mix of sun and cloud. Fog patches dissipating in the morning. The high, 22. Beautiful day. Index of the UV, or UV index, as people who speak English say, is 7 or high. Tonight, mainly cloudy with 30% chance of showers. And this evening, we can expect a low of 10. Thursday, mainly cloudy, 60% chance of showers on Thursday. And wind is 20 kilometers from the north, becoming light in the morning. High of 19. You know what? I don't know about this wind stuff. I guess to know where it's coming from or how heavy it's going to be, it's almost like it shouldn't even have to be part of the weather unless it's over a certain amount of kilometers. I don't know. It's from Environment Canada, and they want us to know, I guess, all the things to do with the weather. So the wind will be from the north. It'll be 20 kilometers an hour, becoming light in the morning. High of 19 for Thursday. UV index 6, also very high, I guess, according to their ratings. Extended forecast. Thursday, you got your 60% chance of showers. High of 19. Friday, sunny, 24. Saturday, sunny, high of 26. Sunday, Monday, mix of sun and cloud, 26 and 27, respectively. And then a 30% chance of showers on Tuesday, high of 27. That means a 70% chance that there won't be showers. That is your extended forecast. Look at your satellite here. When was this taken? So it was yesterday. See if we can get this thing rolling to see the movement of the clouds throughout. There we go. That's more today here. If I can pause this. There you go. 4 a.m. You can see it looks like a huge strip of clouds just coming all the way through, right down from Timmins, Sault Ste. Marie. Sudbury's in there somehow, or going to be. So I guess the clouds will be rolling in later this afternoon, according to the satellite here, for those on the radio who are not able to see it. And that is your Sudbury weather. It's brought to you by sudburyweather.ca. We'll be back right after this with the headlines of the day. Your comments as I'm reading them on the big screen here, and not able to get them up on the screen, unfortunately, due to technical difficulties, as we often have here on the show. We'll be back right after this. Okay, Sudbury News brought to you by Sudbury.news, which is our news aggregating website, which takes all the news from Sudbury and abroad. But the cool thing about the Sudbury aspect is it aggregates from CTV Northern Ontario, CBC Sudbury, Sudbury.com, and CBC Sudbury, and puts it all on one stream. So you just go to our main page for local news right on the home page, and you can see all the local stories at a glance without having to flip back and forth. And the great thing is that it promotes local journalism, because that's what we do here, because that's what I have a passion at doing, is keeping local journalism alive, although we see that there's a huge push against that unless it's controlled by higher entities. However, we want to keep it alive as long as we can. And so we put it all in one place. That way, when people see the headline that they want to read about, they click on it, and it goes right to that news organization. So that way they can get the views, the eyeballs, and the advertising dollars that come from that. So we're supporting local news, free of charge for all the local news outlets, by the way. So that's what we're doing as a service to the community, at my own expense, I might add, my own pocket so far. Unless we're able to figure out a way to monetize this show, it'll turn into, I guess there'll be a little segment like a, give today, here's how you can donate kind of thing segment, which I, not so comfortable with, but might have to do it because I do have my wife who consistently talks to me about how long can you do this and support it yourself. So I don't know. We'll look at that in the future. A couple comments coming in. So Vin says Air and Space was a rock group. Oh, interesting. Had received sponsorship, but never got promoted. Oh, I do believe I remember that band as well, from Sudbury. Many of them from Sudbury, then moved down to Toronto, and had, and they look like they're on their way to whatever success, and things fall out, like bottom falls out, like a lot of bands. So yeah, I do remember that documentary right here on CKLU. Good morning, Mona. Thanks for being with us. Again, our comments, I'll say this throughout the show for those joining us a little bit late, expecting to see the comments coming up on the screen, not able to have them today for who knows why. It's a mystery. It's, again, the major technical glitch out of 3 major technical glitches that we've had this morning. Every morning is different coming on the show. Keeps my brain active, though, first thing after waking up. Appreciate that. So, headlines, Sudbury. This is a weird one. Walden Transfer Station has reopened to the public. Facility was closed June the 12th after a purported spike in methane levels that turned out to be an equipment glitch. So have you ever heard in your lifetime a local landfill having to be closed due to methane levels? First one for me, first time I've ever heard that. This is reported from Sudbury.com. The city has reopened the facility. After Monday, it was closed. Turns out an equipment glitch led to a faulty reading on methane levels. So it wasn't the methane levels per se. It wasn't like a machine malfunctioned and then there was a lot of methane. It was the machine reading the methane that was dysfunctional. The city of Greater Sudbury advised the media recalibrating and performing maintenance on the detection equipment, and it resolved the issue, the city said. There were no elevated gases and no risk to the public at any time, the city said this morning. Well, it's interesting, you think, is that a danger from landfill sites to have, really high levels of methane to the point where it would be harmful to people? Interesting. And the fact that they're outdoors and there's the outdoor air there and whatever, that there would be methane levels harmful for humans. Okay, this was a hot topic. Shared this a little later last night, but it garnered a lot of comments. And it's to do, so Vin's also talking about, seems roughly 40% of Sudbury news on Facebook are content not available on my page. Not sure if that appears the same to others. 40% of Sudbury News Facebook content not available. That's interesting. Yeah, and I remember you sending me that message, Vin. So when you go to click on a story from my Facebook page, it just says content unavailable. So I'm not sure who's doing that, and I'm not sure if other people have that same problem or not. But it's kind of it's unfortunate in a lot of ways, because we are promoting all of the local news outlets. And so you would hope that that wouldn't be a feature the news outlets would put on their Facebook pages to not have it be available for others if someone shared it. So, and then you would definitely hope that Facebook themselves would not have something in their programming or whatever that would cause that to happen. That would be unfortunate as well. We're just sharing local stories. So I'm not sure why, and I'm not sure it's just 40%. So maybe, Vin, if you're able to, over the next few days, just see which news outlets. So if it's mainly one or two of them, it might be organization specific, like let's say Sudbury.com. You're not able to open any of theirs, or CTVs or CBCs or Sudbury Star. So out of those, maybe see if there's ones you're never able to open. And then maybe I can reach out to those organizations and see if there's something we can do about that. Because really, I'm here to promote their news. That's pretty much it. And then we talk about the news and our views on it right here on the show. And then it lives afterwards on our YouTube and Facebook pages. So it just creates a conversation for everyone ongoing. I really don't see why they would want to prevent it from being open. So sorry for the long spiel on that, but I hope you know what I mean. I've never seen that yet on mine, Miles says. I can screenshot and you can deduce time frame of posts. Okay, perfect. Whatever works, Vin. So let me know if you want to just let me know if there's certain outlets that it happens on, or if sometimes it's a mixture of all of them or whatever. But yeah, I hope no one else is having that same problem. So this garnered a lot of comments yesterday, and it has to do with the Up Here Festival. This is an opinion piece on Sudbury.com. Long past time to deal with the old St. Joe's Hospital. Some love it, some hate it, but Up Here Festival organizers say the mural on the old hospital was only supposed to be temporary, as they say they were under the impression the structure was going to be demolished in 2020. I believe I had something from Sudbury.com on here as well, but it might be on today's, not yesterday's, stories. Let's see if I have it. No, here we go. That's today's. Oh, I know what I did. It's on here. Okay, so Up Here is hosting guided walking mural tours. So they're having their festival again this year, but they put out a statement regarding the hospital painted as a rainbow, the old General Hospital on Ramsey Lake. Grab your squad, slap on your best walking shoes, and prepare to be swept off your feet by Sudbury's new guided mural tours. Up Here Festival is thrilled to announce they will be hosting guided mural tours once a month, every month until October. Up Here's guided mural tours are the creme de la creme when it comes to discovering Sudbury's impressive urban art gallery. You'll uncover the stories and the secrets behind over 30 monumental works of art and delve into back alleys to reveal hidden treasures crafted by brilliant artists from all around the world. Guided mural tours are the ultimate outing for locals and visitors alike. For walking with your mom or that new babe you're seeing, and for people who know nothing about art or people who think they know everything about art. So kind of everyone. Starting at the end of June, Up Here, the Up Here Festival, will be hosting guided mural tours on one Saturday every month until October, plus one sneaky Sunday during the festival. So there you have it. So they're having their festival again this year. But they had to put out a press release concerning the artwork on the hospital and how people have been perceiving it for some time. We have a couple comments from this story. We'll get to those, and then maybe we'll look at the story itself. So Kim says, plain and simple, just an eyesore. Not even nothing nice about it. Andy says, the last council said they could do nothing about it. Now, all of a sudden, this council says they're going to do something about it. It's what's going on, and have we got a group of liars in council that can't tell the truth? This here shall never happen. It was a shame. What did really happen? It should never have been closed. It should have been a hospital all along, since big shots in this country think they know everything. That goes to show you what do you know? Not very much. Okay, Shannon says there are more important issues in Sudbury, like an unaffordable housing crisis, homeless crisis. The hospital is short-staffed all the time, and patients are in hallways. So yes, that is true. That is going on. However, I'm sure you still have to deal with this building as well. I would think you can't just ignore one thing because there's other issues, I would think. But anyways, that's just my opinion. Cliffs has been saying since they closed it that it should have been turned into a long-term care facility. A few updates and it would have been good to go. Kind of true and much needed, by the way. I've always said it was an abandoned fix and just moved the problem further down the road. So yeah, just putting it into the future basically. And then someone put a GIF of a building collapsing, meaning just demolish it for heaven's sakes and get it over with. Okay, so back to our comments on a different platform, on a different screen. So I'll have to go searching for them here now. So David says the landfill, she did not have high methane. The instruments they were using wasn't wrong correctly. For measuring wasn't wrong correctly. I think you're alluding to what we did read on the story, that their machine, the tools they were using to look at the levels of methane weren't working. So thanks for that, Dave. Hi from McCarroll. That's Lynn. Thanks for joining us. Again, comments are not able to be put up on the screen today because I don't have the ability to do that, because it just is the way it is. Denise, good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Vin says most recently it would be 3 separate posts from 11 hours ago and 3 from 6 hours ago. Content not available. So maybe the time frame is good, Vin, but maybe the actual ones you're not able to open as well. Like, is it just CTVs you're not able to open? Is it Sudbury.coms? Is it Sudbury Star? Is it, CTV Northern Ontario? Which outlets? Is it? Are you able to open maybe Sudbury.coms? You're always able to open. I'm not sure. So is it organization specific, or is it just time specific? I'm not sure. But let's get to the bottom of it either way. So here's the story from Sudbury.com on the opinion about the hospital, painted so many different colors. When we agreed to transform the old St. Joe's Hospital into Canada's largest mural in 2019, we were under the impression the building would be demolished the following year. We wanted to bid on a vibrant and colorful farewell to historic landmark by turning it into a bold piece of contemporary art, an endeavor that would leave a lasting, albeit a tiny bit, very slightly, barely even noticeably controversial impression on the Canadian artistic landscape. Fast forward to today, and we find ourselves as disheartened as everyone by the lack of progress on the part of the property owners. We yearn for the old hospital to undergo a metamorphosis, to be revitalized and reintegrated into the fabric of our community. We agree with Paul Lefebvre, his urgent desire to repurpose the building. This is coming from the Up Here Festival people. To many of us, the hospital holds a deep significance as a place of healing, where lives have been started and mourned, where journeys unfolded. It carries the weight of countless stories and memories, making it into an integral part of our community's identity. The potential held within this old St. Joe's Hospital is undeniable. It has the capacity to play a pivotal role in addressing our pressing housing crisis while seamlessly connecting the downtown area with beautiful Bell Park. By transitioning it into a dynamic hub of creativity and cultural expression, all our lives would be greatly enriched. With the mural up here, the artist Risk and the team aim to honor the memories with its walls. It's been a symbol of hope, resilience, and the transformative power of art. Regrettably, the delay in the building's evolution has left many of us frustrated and disenchanted. We anxiously await the fulfillment of the original promise. We implore Panoramic Properties to honor their obligation and swiftly undertake the necessary steps to fulfill the collective vision we hold for this cherished property. Only then can this hospital once again play its valuable role in the kaleidoscope of our city, reminding us of the extraordinary possibilities that arise when history, community, and art converge. Fun fact, kaleidoscope is the word for a swarm of butterflies. This opinion was written by the Up Here Festival. Sounds like whoever wrote it has a hand in also speech writing for the leader of our country. Very similar wording and archetype of crafting the wording and where it's coming from. We'll get into that a little bit later for a deep dive today as we listen to our fearless leader speak on his ideologies of his vision of this country. Similar. So you can see they said this was only meant for a short period of time. Excuse me. They, along with us, also wanted this to transition into whatever it's going to be and take on its new life. It was only supposed to be temporary, that this building would be, the butterflies and the rainbows on the building. No mention of maybe a political statement somehow of why the building was painted in the way that it was, although that could just be, just kind of assumed by many for obvious reasons, but no mention of that. So anyways, some more comments coming from another story we shared from CTV on it. So the people behind Up Here Festival are reminding residents that the mural painted on the former hospital in 2019 was supposed to be a swan song for the building, not a long-time fixture. 5 comments coming from that particular article that was shared. Jungle Jim, love that. Don't blame the Arts Festival. It was your idea. You commissioned the American artist. I guess no Canadian artist can throw paint on brick. You promoted it as the best thing in Canada. Own up to it. Dexter says, embarrassing, period, with a period. And it says 5 comments, but it's only showing 2. So I guess I have to say all comments. And let's see what else we got here. And it will not show me any more comments, even though it says 5 comments. It's only showing 2 comments. All right. So that's a little bit into Facebook and maybe some of the reasons Vin is having the problem he's having, because it's not always, things aren't always working for some reason the way that they are supposed to. Okay. Also another letter, but this time to Sudbury.com, but maybe we'll keep on because I think some of you might have some comments here. Sorry for all the scrolling for those people who have motion sickness. I know I'm just scrolling the stories along, but we got some comments coming up here. I want to get to those. Let's see where we left off. All right, so Trudeau boasts that Canada will be the first post-national state devoid of any identity. That's interesting. There's a lot of comments that Trudeau says locally and abroad that should make your eyebrows stand up, because we talked yesterday with Mike, Ward 5 councilman, Mike Perron, and he said we need good leadership, and leadership definitely controls the culture of any country, region, city, organization. And in this case, we have our leader setting the tone for our culture. And if he is saying things like he wants us to be the first post-national state devoid of any identity, you'd have to be concerned possibly about that. But a lot of his policies do show, all of his policies show that. So you know by what they vote for and what they put forward. Dave says that old hospital has been a source of income for the city as movie companies have rented it. Maybe turn it into an art gallery and save the city $100 million. There you go. Great insight there. It does look very artsy, very colorful. So we'll do a little deep dive into Justin Trudeau possibly a little bit later. Looks like we might have time, which is great. It's our new mayor's, it's time for our new mayor that he brought jobs to Greater Sudbury. So this is a letter to the Sudbury Star. Our new mayor was touting his political connections as part of his resume and reason for us to vote for him. There is another announcement for a new battery plant to be built in Ontario coming up. It boggles the mind that Kingston and Windsor have been given big battery plants and jobs when the metal for those batteries come from Sudbury. We have no population growth in this city since 1973. Well, very little. When there were 173 people here then. Interesting. Would it not be nice if there was an announcement of a plant with 3,000 jobs to come to Sudbury? Just think about the value of your home overnight, climbing to as high as that of a home in Southern Ontario. We can actually share in the wealth that has been generated for every other part of this province. People might argue we do not have the population to fill these jobs. Neither does Windsor nor Kingston. If you build it, they will come. So I say to the new mayor, get off your butt and get on it. That's from Ed Poisson. To the Sudbury Star. Thanks, Ed, for your comments and your views on that particular subject. Much appreciated. We've talked on this show. See if there's any other comments coming in. So Lynn says, just look at our new proposal. Just look at our new passport. And you want proof? Terry Fox, Vimy Ridge, the War Museum, all erased. Yes, that's true. If you want to build your future, sometimes you have to erase the past. It's Marxist ideology. And definitely Justin Trudeau has taken a page out of that playbook for sure. And we see that in what's happening, right? And a lot of people love Marxism. I'm not a fan, but hey, it's taught in all our universities for a little over 30 years. And now you're seeing the results of that in the leaders that we put out into the world. They all have that same ideology. So it's hard to combat it. Ontario, beverage container recycling changes coming. Look at that. The beverage industry is taking over managing recycling of juice, milk, water, and pop containers. Yay. Now, I don't know the details about this. I apologize to Stephen directly that I was not able to read every single news story. We'll be talking about this all the way from beginning to end and know everything we're going to be talking about today as we're having this conversation. However, you can go on CTV Northern Ontario to get, unless you're Vin going through our Facebook page, you can go directly to CTV Northern Ontario, find that story and watch it or read it. And maybe we'll talk more about that coming up. But I think it's a good idea that the manufacturers, like it used to be, remember you brought your pop bottles back and you got 15 cents or whatever it was, and then they took the recycling away and then they could reuse their own garbage, let's say, to recycle it. And that was a great system. And you got some money back, and people could then use it as a revenue stream, go around collecting these and handing them in and getting a little bit of cash. Municipal employee pleads guilty to child porn charges in Sudbury. An employee of the city of Greater Sudbury pled guilty Tuesday to child pornography and other charges. And again, that was Northern Ontario CTV. If you want to read more about it, you can go to their website. Okay, so here you go. Let's try with a little bit of our deep dive today, talking about maybe the reason why some of the things that we have going on in Canada are the way that they are. This is our fearless leader, Justin Trudeau, giving a speech in Ottawa. And we'll just be back after listening to him. See if you can pick out maybe why certain things are the way they are in our country after we hear what he finds things to be important.
Transphobia, biphobia, homophobia are all on the rise. It's been difficult to watch. People and institutions still continue to reject who you are, to try to deny members of our communities the rights to be seen and heard and celebrated. We've seen a lot of this happening just south of the border. But even more troubling is the way it is making its way to Canada. We've seen attempts to block and disrupt Pride celebrations. Over the past few weeks, we've seen people try to remove books on gender and sexual identities from school library systems, denying kids their rights to learn. This is especially cruel towards kids who struggle with questions about their own identities, kids who don't have a loving environment where they can ask questions and get support. In too many places, it's kids who have to fight to have the pride flag raised. And in some places, it's been denied. Well, to those kids, I'm here to say that even though the flag may not fly at your school, know that it proudly flies here in your seat of government. Love is the most innately human experience there is. It's hatred and discrimination that need to be taught. In Canada, you should always be able to love with complete freedom. That's what our government and all of these allies behind me from multiple parties will always fight for.
That story came from the Canadian Press. It was shared on Sudbury Star's website through Post Media. And so that was Justin Trudeau. I don't know if you picked out some of the things that he said in there or things that he finds important, obviously speaking for Pride Month this month. And he feels that everybody should feel included and we need to show love. And he's upset about people that are voicing their opinions and don't agree with what he feels that it's important for Canadians and doing it the way that he feels people should. So it's kind of hypocritical when you say we need to love everybody, we need to be open, but people that don't like this, we're not going to be open to you. So it's reverse. It's a very kind of doublespeak Orwellian style stuff. Has Justin Trudeau shown that he is open to everybody in this country? Has he shown that he's been able to work with others who don't agree with his policy or his ideology? And when they don't agree with it, what kind of things does he do? So people who don't agree with what he's saying, he's a leader. He's setting the tone for us. Remember that. Drag queen summer camps for kids comes to government-funded Winnipeg theater. So this is just one example, the latest among a growing number of drag queen summer camps for kids, has been announced at Youth Theater in Winnipeg, Manitoba. The camp is for children aged 13 to 18. Do you have the idea of being a drag queen, or drag thing, but don't know where to start? The program description reads, explore the fun of drag through this week-long introduction to the art form. You will create or refine a drag persona using makeup, wigs, and costumes, and then create a lip sync number to debut at the end of the week. So that's coming from their promotion of the event to 13 to 18-year-olds. So the Manitoba Theatre for Young People, which is hosting the camp, receives funding from all levels of government. It received about $830,000 from the Government of Canada for 2021-22 combined. Another $513 from Canada Council for the Arts, and recent grant of $1.3 million from the Manitoba government. It also lists the City of Winnipeg as one of its government partners. Publicly funded drag events for children have received criticism in recent months. Similar drag camps to be hosted in Vancouver this summer by the government-funded Carousel Theatre are for children 7 to 17, held in 2 separate cohorts for younger children and older children. This is utterly disgusting. Camps indoctrinating kids as young as 7 with gender ideology and sexual confusion are now being promoted and subsidized by all levels of government, said Maxime Bernier of the People's Party. He's the leader of the People's Party of Canada. He said that on March 31st in a tweet. An all-ages drag show hosted by Bingamans Recreation Center in Kitchener, Bingemans, not sure the pronunciation on that, on December 1st, 2022, was funded in part by the Ontario government. Why is Premier Doug Ford using taxpayer dollars to pay adult men dressed as women to perform for children? Drag shows, by their nature, are not for all ages, MPP Belinda Caralios said on Twitter on November 30th. The Epic Times asked the Manitoba Theatre, the Manitoba government, and Canada Council for the Arts how they respond to criticisms that drag events are not suitable for children, but did not receive a reply as of this publication. So obviously we know that this is a huge thing in Canada now. It's something that we're meant to argue over for some reason. It's funded by the government, which we just heard from Justin Trudeau why he would want to fund it, because he does believe in this ideology to teach children to dress up as the opposite gender and dance around for some reason. It's very educational, he believes. I'm not sure why he's not able to answer questions about this. He just gives the speech and you just take his words, and he's never able to take hard questions from any reporters because he doesn't allow those reporters into his scrums. Only the reporters that ask him simple, nice questions that go along with what he believes in, he allows into his press conferences. But that's just the way it goes. We'll never know why he believes what he believes. But we also have a bit of a Harrison Faulkner here, if I can find it, wherever it went. Looks like it might be here. So, little look into Justin Trudeau at home, what he's doing, and now Justin Trudeau abroad, as he travels to other countries, kind of spreading his ideologies and teaching other people that hate is wrong and love is the answer, from our fearless leader, Justin Trudeau.
Justin Trudeau and Chrystia Freeland made a surprise visit to Ukraine over the weekend where they announced another shipment of $500 million to Vladimir Zelensky in the Ukrainian war effort, bringing Canada's total contribution to Ukraine since the beginning of the war to over $8 billion. Sure, $8 billion is not a lot in the context of a war, but when the Canadian government can't even afford helmets for our own troops, and even food for our own troops, surely the question should be asked about who the Trudeau government is prioritizing here. While in Kiev, Trudeau addressed the Ukrainian parliament and repeated the now famous slogan that he has been using since the beginning of the war.
Canada will continue to stand with Ukraine with whatever it takes, as long as it takes.
Nobody seems to know exactly what Trudeau means when he says this, and no Canadian legacy media journalist seems willing to ask that question. Trudeau also said this to the Ukrainian parliament.
You're fighting for the survival of everything. You're fighting for freedom, for democracy, for the right of self-determination. You're fighting for borders to mean something, even when a neighbor has a bigger armory.
Despite the fact that Zelensky has banned the Ukrainian Orthodox Church, dissolved the independent media in his country, and also dissolved his political opposition. This is not to say that they are the bad guys here, in fact, quite the opposite. It's just to say that saying you're fighting for freedom and democracy is a little difficult when you're banning your political opposition and shutting down independent media. Oh, and for good measure, Justin Trudeau made sure to meet with and shake the hand of a man who has been accused of being a Nazi sympathizer and a Holocaust denier. Here's what the Canadian legacy media had to say about that interaction. Drop a like in the video, help us out by subscribing to the True North YouTube channel, and the comment question for the episode is this. How do you think the war in the Ukraine will end? Let me know in the comments, and let's get into it. Well, this is a bit awkward, isn't it? Here's Justin Trudeau meeting with former Ukrainian ambassador to Germany, Andrei Melnik. Melnik was forced to leave his post as German ambassador after going on a German language interview and praising and defending Stepan Bandera. Bandera is a far-right World War II-era icon in the Ukraine, whose followers and militants in the Organization of Ukrainian Nationalists massacred tens of thousands of Poles and Jews. For some quick historical context, Bandera openly collaborated with the Nazis in World War II, but by the time his own militants began the slaughter of Poles in the Ukraine, Bandera was interned in a German concentration camp after it became obvious that Germany was not going to recognize Ukrainian sovereignty. Here's Melnik in a German language interview from 2022, defending Bandera and dismissing the accusations against him.
Aber hat Israel Unrecht? Israel, der Staat Israel,
Ja,
dass
wir haben-
800.000
ja.
Juden auch von Banderas Truppen
Also
und
Israel,
Bandera
Denken
Denken Sie sich das aus?
Ich weiß nicht, was Sie sich ausdenken, aber wir reden über Bandera, ja? Und wir reden über
Die
Bandera.
ganze Welt erkennt an, dass Bandera an der Ermordung von hunderttausenden Juden beteiligt ist.
Nein, das stimmt
Außer
nicht.
die Ukraine.
Es gibt keine Belege, dass Bandera-Truppen hunderttausende Juden ermordet haben.
Those comments were quickly condemned by both the Polish and Israeli governments, and before Melnik was forced to leave his post after making those comments, he stated on the record that he condemns the Holocaust in the harshest possible terms. Canadian media and Jewish organizations in Canada, however, have refused to condemn Justin Trudeau for meeting with Melnik and have refused to report on the interaction. Well, it's actually not that surprising that the Canadian media have refused to report on this interaction, because for quite some time, the Canadian media have been silent about the uncomfortable connection between neo-Nazis and Ukraine. For example, at a Ukraine rally in early 2022, Chrystia Freeland was seen holding up a blood and soil Bandera movement scarf at City Hall in Toronto. True North's Candace Malcolm was the first to break the story, and Freeland posted the photo of herself holding up the scarf, but then quickly deleted the photo and reposted a new photo without the scarf in the picture. Legacy media outlets across the country, most notably being the National Post, accused anyone of raising issue with Freeland holding that Bandera movement scarf of pushing Russian propaganda. Also, it's important not to forget that Chrystia Freeland's own grandfather, as reported by the Ottawa Citizen, was indeed a Nazi collaborator and newspaper propagandist. And before the Ottawa Citizen confirmed this story in 2017, Freeland's office and other legacy media journalists once again claimed anyone who was pushing that story to be advancing Russian propaganda. Despite being an open secret for years that Ukraine has a very sketchy relationship with neo-Nazism, legacy media outlets have refused to cover, for example, the Azov battalion's frequent use of Nazi imagery until the New York Times finally decided to report on it a few weeks ago. Now, despite this overwhelming and uncomfortable evidence, legacy media journalists in Canada, Justin Trudeau himself, and even his Liberal MPs have no problem attacking Conservatives for doing the things that they themselves have been doing for years. Remember back during the Freedom Convoy when Justin Trudeau shamelessly said to Melissa Lantsman, a Jewish MP, that she was standing with those who wave swastikas.
Mr. Speaker, when did the Prime Minister lose his way? When did it happen?
You're right, Honourable Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, Conservative Party members can stand with people who wave swastikas. They can stand with people who wave the Confederate flag.
And when Conservative MPs met with German member of European Parliament Christine Anderson, who, by the way, did more to oppose lockdowns and mandates in Canada than most Canadian politicians, Justin Trudeau said that Leslyn Lewis, a black woman, was standing with a known far-right extremist.
A Conservative leader meets with a known far-right extremist. Oh, we didn't know who it was.
Even worse, Liberal MP Jennifer O'Connell stood up in the House of Commons and shrieked at Leslyn Lewis that she met with, quote, a known Nazi. Remember this?
I'm just curious if she's talking about online hate and privacy of Canadians and regulation. Does she condemn her actions by meeting with a known Nazi in this country who spout anti-Muslim rhetoric?
Well, Justin Trudeau was seen happily shaking the hand of a man who openly praises Holocaust deniers and defends Nazi sympathizers, and the media is silent. But it just keeps getting worse for Trudeau and Freeland. Back in 2019, Freeland and Trudeau met with Andrei Parubi. Parubi served as the Speaker of the Ukrainian legislature, and he's also the co-founder of a far-right fascist party in Ukraine. According to a report from the Jerusalem Post, as recently as 2016, Parubi made anti-Semitic comments and accused Jews of sending convicts to settle eastern Ukraine and to destroy the genetic memory of the Holodomor. That reporting in Canada is exclusively in True North.
Well, you just have, again, media that you'll never see anywhere else other than hearing it here, in Sudbury anyways, or watching it. So that's why I let the video play a little bit longer, just the facts that he's sharing. You just won't hear it on mainstream media. So you might as well hear it somehow, and then you decide what you want to do with that information, whether you think it's Russian disinformation or you think this guy's just on crack. Anyways, you now can look into those things. It's just you need to hear it first. Thanks for being with us today, everyone. Sorry the comments weren't working. We couldn't put them up on the screen, but thanks for being with us. We'll be back same time, same place, God willing, tomorrow morning right here. Sudbury News Talk on CKLU 96.7 FM, Facebook Live, YouTube Live. Stay tuned now for Earshot Daily on CKLU. Make sure to like and share and take care. Ciao.
This is Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.